everybody, my name is Katrina and I am the host of Our Collective Life. We are a channel that is dedicated to sharing our experience of life with dissociative identity disorder and also giving you some tips and tricks as we learn to manage money as a system. I am not perfect. I do struggle. I don't pretend I'm an expert, but I'm getting better. So I'll give you a quick update on how we've done this week and then I'll give you some kind of tips and tricks. So money's been very difficult this week. On Wednesday or Thursday, money had been spent. So we have a persecutory alter called Dream who often lashes out, and unfortunately she was highly triggered at a therapy session, which was neither my therapist's fault or Dream's fault, but things just kind of escalated. My therapist is very good at filling in the gaps of what went on in the session. So she spent most of my money, which was frustrating, especially as this weekend is my 31st birthday. Woo-hoo. And she is this, I'm not sure what that was. It's especially frustrating as my sister's due to come and visit, so we have no money to pay for her food, no money to pay for her clothes. But it's okay, we've managed to sort something out, kind of. And so we've been kind of forced into doing some no spend days, and that means not spending any money whatsoever. Now a no spend day is kind of, the rules are different depending on who you speak to. So for me, a no spend day is anything not budgeted for, whilst I know some hardcore turtles have a no spend day where they don't spend any money at all that day. I run a Facebook group called the No Spend Challenge UK on Facebook, and this group is an excellent little group of fighters trying to spend as less money as possible, and they're really encouraging, and I find it very inspiring to go on there to see people committed to changing their ways. And I run this group, but often I'm finding that I'm having less no spend days than other people. But obviously when you're a DID system, unless you're years down the road of therapy, communication and talking to each other and kind of making the other alters understand that it's not your money, it's money that needs to last, it's money that needs to feed us, feed my cat Pepper, and so it's been difficult, and I'm not always sure how to get around it, because I've got the wonderful James in our system who is so good at money. I think he could manage the UK's budget and still have money left over. He's so strict, but he's only as strict as the system can be. So we have several littles. Many of them have no concept of money, and so often it's kind of a challenge to explain to them and persuade them that no, you can't spend all this money. And then I've got myself, who's quite impulsive, and I do struggle, wanting to go out, spend money, kind of it's like my mind just goes blank on paydays and that's it, it's spent, you know. So here's a couple of tips and tricks of the way you can make it easier. So tip 1, you could allocate a certain amount of money for your system. Now this only works if you're disciplined and you make sure you hide your bank cards. So what we tried to do, and it didn't really work, was we gave the system a set amount of money and gave me, because I'm the host, I'm the one that's out most of the time, some money as well. And truthfully, it kind of worked, but then I was terrible and spent it all, which I'm not particularly proud of. I mean, we're a 22 strong system, so kind of allocating £20 each to everyone just wouldn't work, especially as some members of our system are a lot more active than others, and I know for a fact that James just would never spend his money, and I'd probably find an envelope full of £20 notes. But it's all subjective, it's all objective, isn't it? It's what's right for you at this time. Another option you can do is kind of buy the treats at the beginning of the month and kind of bagging them up and saying, right, this is what we've got for treats that day. I think that would work. We've done it before when we were trying to diet and it kind of helped. I've got a lot of littles in my system who are very food insecure, so they struggle with kind of regulating how much food to eat. We've got a little who just has such a sweet tooth, it's impossible, and so that's another possibility. The other possibility is to just don't give anyone any money. Now, I don't recommend that. I think that's the way altars just go wild because they're being restricted. The problem is, of course, is if you give each system member an allowance, you need to have a rule with possibly your system rules that you're not allowed to comment on what they're spending that money on. Now, I think you would have to add an extra rule to say only if it's safe for the body and other people. Because I'm thinking about Dream, for example, if I gave her £20 a month, which she would be disgusted with, I could imagine she'd just buy alcohol. We very rarely drink, and when Dream drinks, she drinks. So there's that. So the problem is, if you're not as long into your journey as other people, communication isn't great. Your system is kind of in disarray and in distress still. Trying to apply all these rules is a bit like trying to apply a plaster to a wound that is still leaking. And I'm sorry for that imagery, it's just what's popped in my head. Some of your altars are still going to be in that moment, in that distress, in that space. So another possibility is what you could do is put the money into a savings account that possibly your most responsible altar can access only. And if you need something, go through them. But your responsible altar would have to be fair. And this is the thing. James, he is my most responsible altar. He is the most responsible person I have ever met. He's not always fair. He's very black and white in his thinking. Money should be saved, never spent. And that's difficult. That's kind of chaotic for a system, and it's very restricted. We're kind of fortunate that we get a good level of universal credit and personal independence payments, and we are ahead, you know. But we fought very hard to get our disability benefits, and you know, the stress is always there. So first of all, make sure, if you're in the UK, make sure you're eligible for make sure you're claiming everything you're eligible for. This will help. And if you're working, obviously, you know, it's a lot harder because you're trying to manage it on a wage. And I'm just rambling now, so I am going to stop there. So thank you for watching. I hope this video made sense, and I will check in next week. Bye.